I think it's very clear, in particular in the context of what we heard yesterday, both at committee and through the media, that hearing from Minister Anand is of particular importance. So this is why this motion was put forward today, and I don't doubt that some members will not agree with some aspects of my commentary, but I hope that won't get in the way of support for a common sense motion to invite the President of the Treasury Board to appear before this committee and to speak about her work, the work of her department, and announcements and actions that she has spoken about. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Ms. Genuis. Ms. Khalid, you have the floor, please. And you're on mute. Before I begin, I will remind just members my comments on points of order applies to all members. Ms. Khalid, you have the floor. Over to you.
Oh, my apologies, Chair. I thought Ms. Kuzi was first.
Well, the hands went up and it was a photo finish. So I, in the sake of fairness, decided to go. I can move you down one if you like.
I am. Please, if you can, I'd love to hear what Ms. Kuzi has to say first. Thank you.
Ms. Kuzi, and then Ms. Khalid, then Ms. Shanahan. Ms. Kuzi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I believe my colleague, Mr. Genuis, has indicated the reasons for which the President of the Treasury Board should be present in front of this committee to account for well, not only her announcement yesterday, but her implication in the oversight of ArriveCan, ArriveScam going forward. But I also would like to get the President of the Treasury Board in front of the committee as well for another matter that was brought up here today by the Deputy Minister. As was indicated yesterday, we found out that an individual who is working with the public service has received a significant $8 million from the ArriveScam scandal. And the Deputy Minister herself today said that she has seen in her oversight the firing of 5 employees for failing to disclose conflict of interest. Well, Mr. President of this committee, you may remember that Life Labs was granted millions of dollars for COVID testing, and that the President of the Treasury Board did not disclose this to the Ethics Commissioner. Now, she did disclose other things, but prior to the pandemic, you'll be interested to know, Mr. President, that Life Labs, the company on which the President of the Treasury Board's husband sits on as a director, only received $150,000 in contracts prior to the pandemic. Only 3 contracts after the pandemic, where I will remind the committee that the current President of the Treasury Board served as the Minister of Procurement during that time. Life Labs received a contract for, this is a number, Mr. President, that goes beyond the number we've been discussing here in ArriveScam. $66.3 million on June 23rd.
Sorry, Ms. Kuzi, I have a point of order from Ms. Yip.
Thank you.
Yeah, just questioning the relevance of this.
Thank you, Ms. Yip. I think off the top, Ms. Kuzi does have wide latitude. Ms. Kuzi, back to you, please.
Yeah, thank you. It's very relevant because we
this
are
is a
calling
study
her.
On ArriveCan,
that's right, and
just 1 second, Ms. Kuzi.
Discussing conflicts of interest. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President.
Sorry, Ms. Kuzi. It's not my intent to cut you off, and I will let you finish up. I just wanted to. We are now actually debating the motion before us. So it's the Treasury Board President, Ms. Kuzi, you have the last words. I don't know if you wanted if you want it back again, or if I should move on.
Sure. No, I would like to continue.
Thank you.
I am providing another compelling reason that we need the President of the Treasury Board in front of this,
point of order, Chair.
Committee. Oh, it seems to me, Mr. President, that they are trying to
Yes, let me. I'll hear the point
thank
of
you so
Ms.
much.
Khalid. You are next.
Go ahead, please, Mr. President.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I was just wondering if you wanted to excuse any witnesses that are in the room at this point, if that's okay. I know that we've gone over time, but I just wanted to make sure that they were not sitting around.
Ms. Khalid, you have the last spot, so I will. I'm ready to excuse them if you like. It is up. I can turn to government members or you in particular. Would you like me to excuse the witnesses?
I think it would probably be best for us to excuse the witnesses. I don't want to keep them waiting.
Very good. Ms. Reza, Mr. Hayes, and your team, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate it, and I, too, am pleased you are being excused so you can get on with your day. Thank you very much. We'll see you all again. Ms. Kuzi, again, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I think it's unfortunate that they're being excused because I think actually they would be interested and appreciative that I am actually bringing forward another rationale for the appearance of the President of the Treasury Board that is related to the action that they indicated that they took today on behalf of the information we found out this week about Dalian. So as I was saying, the President of the Treasury Board did not disclose to the Ethics Commissioner that her husband was a director on Life Labs. And as I mentioned previously as well, prior to the pandemic, only $150,000 in contract. Yet during the pandemic, as I was indicating before I was interrupted, on June 23rd of 2020, $66.3 million was awarded to Life Labs, but it did not stop there, Mr. President. On August 20th, we saw an additional $1.9 million being awarded to Life Labs. And I say to all Canadians, and I would have said to the witnesses, were they still there, is it not accurate that the President of the Treasury Board, the individuals who oversees the public servants, who is supposed to be a leader, should set the standard, should be held to the same standard, to the same ethical code that this deputy minister that we just dismissed was so proud to indicate that she held 5 members to? So I think this is another very compelling reason, Mr. Chair, that we have the President of the Treasury Board. In addition to the oversight, which, as I said previously, of ministers, which is inextricably connected to the outcomes, to the results, where we determined that Canadians did not receive value for money. This is another compelling piece of information, another compelling piece of evidence, as presented by the Deputy Minister here today in her actions, that also the President of the Treasury Board should be held to. So with that, Mr. President, I will conclude, and I would just encourage all committee members to support this motion for transparency, not only for the work that is done and the value of tax dollars for Canadians, but also to ensure that these ministers who are inextricably tied to their outcomes are also held accountable to the highest of standards. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Ms. Khalid, over to you now, please.
Thanks very much, Chair. I appreciate you and the time that we have to talk about this very important issue. First and foremost, I just want to be very clear. I have no issues with any minister coming before this committee to answer questions. I have no issues with holding members of our government, including bureaucracy, to account for what has happened here. What I am concerned about is efficiency. It's about how are we, just as we, like the Conservatives have really gone down this massive fishing expedition. Unfortunately, they haven't caught any fish so far. But I'm wondering, what
we caught
is
one
the
that's
best...
about $60 million in size.
Mr. Barrett, would you like to be added to the speaking list?
Mr. Barrett, would you like to be added to the speaking list?
Back to you, Ms. Khalid.
What's happening?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Chair. And to Mr. Barrett, there is no fish that has been caught here. As many as thousands and thousands of hours that you guys have spent in trying to find something here that is passing your sniff test, and the fact that you keep on calling so many committee meetings on this tells me that you haven't really found anything. I think what we have found, and what all of us all parliamentarians agree on is that something happened here with the ArriveCan app, that we need to make sure that bureaucrats are held responsible, that we want to make sure that the money that was paid out to these middle management folks is brought back into our government, and that Canadians have accountability for how their tax dollars are spent. What we are not finding here, regardless of all of your countless efforts, is that this was a ministerial sign-off, that the Prime Minister, for some reason, signed off on this. That is not what has happened here. And we've spent, 6,000 hours on this so far? Well, let's talk about not finding anything for 6,000 hours, and what is 1 or 2 more hours of the Treasury Board president going to do to come in to say, all right, let me add to the 6,000 hour tally and millions of dollars of taxpayers so the Conservatives can go sniffing and trying to find something, and they haven't found anything. What I would appreciate is if we have public officials coming in to talk about what the next steps are, to talk about how we can get our taxpayer dollars back, to talk about how we can fix the process here. Can we not make everything political? I would really appreciate if we're not just, trying to find those cheap political wins in every single thing that the Conservatives are doing. Let's actually do something productive. That's what the purpose of the Public Accounts Committee is, Chair. And I really appreciate all of your efforts in making sure that we are trying to do our very best to hear from all the witnesses. But reality is, we still don't have a game plan. We've had so many meetings here in this committee. We still don't have a game plan as to what our next steps are within this committee. We can call 1,000,001 witnesses, but until and unless we as a committee decide, okay, this is how we are going to move forward, these are the recommendations that we are going to provide to our government, this is what we need to do to make sure that something like this does not happen again, then why are we going down a wild goose chase? And again, I reiterate, I have no problems with any minister appearing before the committee. I think that it is ineffective. It is a waste of taxpayer dollars. It is a waste of all of the amazing people that are in the room right now making sure that this meeting happens. It's unfortunate, and I would hope that my colleagues would agree with me on this, and I know that my Conservative colleagues are still going to go down this path of a witch hunt and try to find something that they can just take and run with. But at this point, I think perhaps the best thing that we can do is, rather than having the minister come in, it would be to bring in the officials of the TBS back to talk about how we are going to move forward on this, how we are going to hold to account and make sure that this does not happen again in the future. So I would then move that amendment to say that we remove or we change the president of the Treasury Board to say, invite back officials from TBS.
Just one sec. Ms. Khalid, I'm going to rule that amendment is out of order because it changes the fundamental nature of the motion. You're welcome to bring that back forward.
I'm so sorry, Chair. I would love some clarification on why you think that's out of order. I mean, like I said in my remarks, we still don't have a work plan. We have no idea where we're going with this. We keep having meeting after meeting after meeting, not just in public accounts, but in so many other committees across Parliament. So I don't know how you would rule this out of order if we don't even know what the purpose of all of this is at the end of the day. Are we trying to just find something to link to ministers, to link to give political scoring points to our Conservative colleagues? Or are we trying to get to the bottom of this? And if we are trying to get to the bottom of this, to find next steps, to provide solid recommendations, then how is this out of order?
It fundamentally changes the the motion. You're welcome to bring
So
it forward.
does that mean-
Miss Khalid, I allow you to speak. Please return the courtesy. You're welcome to
Apologies, Chair.
you're welcome to bring